Have you ever had that weird feeling that your phone is listening to you? Or maybe you've had the exact opposite problem, where the ads you see are so random they have absolutely nothing to do with you. Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on how some of the smartest, most effective ads really work. And here's a hint, it has way more to do with where you go than what you say.
But first, let's just start with the feeling we've all had, right? You're scrolling through your feed and bam, there's an ad for something you couldn't care less about. Or maybe it's for something you already bought weeks ago. It just feels like a total miss. So what's the deal? Why are so many online ads just so wrong?
Well, the answer is kind of shockingly simple, and it really gets to the heart of the problem. This quote from our source material just nails it. Most audience targeting starts with guesswork. That's right. For years, a huge part of the multi-billion-dollar advertising industry has basically been one giant guessing game. So, what does this guessing game actually look like in practice? Let's break down the old-school playbook that so many advertisers have been using for years.
Okay, so traditionally, advertisers try to figure you out using these really broad buckets. They look at your age, your gender, your postcode to figure out where you live, and maybe a few interests you clicked like on years ago. They're trying to paint a picture of who you are, but the brushstrokes are just incredibly wide.
And here is the absolute most important point. None of these things, not your age, not where you live, actually prove what you're about to do. They don't prove your intent. Just because you're a 40-year-old woman who lives in a city doesn't mean you're in the market for a new sofa right now. There's just no proof.
All right, so if guesswork is the problem, what's the solution? This is where we get to a much more powerful idea. It's about looking at what people do, not who we think they are. And this right here, this is the total game changer. Forget who you say you are online or the pages you like. What really matters is your behavior in the real world. Where you physically go, the stores you walk into, the car dealerships you visit. That reveals what you actually care about, what you need, and what you're probably going to buy next.
And this is exactly where a company like MapSite comes into play. So what is it? Put simply, it's a location intelligence platform. Its whole job is to build advertising audiences based on where people actually go in the real world. It's the technology that connects your footsteps to the ads you see.
Okay, that sounds really powerful, but how does it actually work? I mean, how do you get from someone's simple footstep in a shopping mall to a meaningful ad on their phone? Let's trace that data journey.
It really boils down to a pretty simple three-step process. First, real-world movement is observed. As we all go about our days, our devices generate location signals. Second, and this is the important part, these are captured as completely anonymous signals. Finally, from those anonymous signals, real audience intelligence is extracted.
Now, I know exactly what you might be thinking. Observed movement? Anonymous signals? That sounds a little bit Big Brother, doesn't it? So how is this data actually collected safely and, most importantly, anonymously? It's a really crucial question.
The whole thing works because of a piece of tech called a MAID. That stands for Mobile Advertising ID. The easiest way to think about it is like a license plate for your phone that's only used for ads. It's just an anonymous code, not your name.
And what's really important to know is just how privacy-friendly this technology is. A MAID has no name attached, no email, no phone number. Your personal identity is completely separate from it. And you know the best part? You, the user, can reset this ID anytime you want in your phone settings. You are in complete control. It's about patterns, not people.
And this slide just boils down the entire shift in thinking perfectly. Traditional advertising asks, who are you? Trying to stuff you into a demographic box. But this new behavioral approach asks a much smarter question. Where do you actually go? It's a huge shift from identity to action.
So once that anonymous location data comes in, how is it turned into something useful? Well, it gets analyzed using 4 key signals. Frequency. How often does a device show up at a location? Dwell time. How long does it stay there? Recency. How long ago was it there? And of course, the location type. Was it a luxury hotel or a budget supermarket?
So, with all this data and these analytical tools, you can start to build something incredibly powerful. Advertising audiences based not on who people might be, but on what they actually do.
Just look at this comparison. The difference is night and day, right? The guesswork audience on the left is so vague. Women, 30-40, who like to travel page. That could be someone who just dreams of traveling. But the behavioral audience on the right, people who physically visit an airport at least once a month, now that is an audience of actual frequent travelers. See the power?
And you can get incredibly specific with this. You can build audiences of people who regularly do their grocery shopping at Kohl's or Woolies, or people who visit high-end shopping districts every single month. Even better, you can find people who are right now actively shopping at your direct competitors' stores. Or, and this is amazing, people who shop at all your competitors but have never once set foot in your brand's location. That is just pure, actionable intelligence.
But it doesn't even stop there. You can take it another level deeper than just simple audiences. By layering all these different behaviors on top of each other, you can start to create something much richer, what we call digital personas.
So for example, you can identify a premium retail browser. That's someone who frequently visits luxury stores. Or a value-driven cross-shopper, who you see visiting multiple different discount stores. Or a loyal category buyer, someone who only ever shops at, say, one specific chain of hardware stores. These are rich, detailed profiles of real consumer behavior.
Okay, this all sounds incredibly clever, right? But here's the billion-dollar question. Does it actually work? What are the results? Let's get into our final section, why this approach is a clear winner.
Well, the numbers really do speak for themselves. The source material shows a much higher click-through rate, or CTR. That's the percentage of people who see an ad and actually click on it. And we're talking over 7.5%. If you know anything about digital advertising, you know that is huge. Naturally, that leads to a lower cost per click, and maybe most importantly, way less wasted ad spend. You're only talking to the right people, so every dollar just works harder.
And maybe the best part for the marketers out there is that this isn't some complicated new system you have to go and learn. Once these powerful audiences are built, they're designed to plug straight into all the major platforms everyone already uses: Meta, Google, programmatic advertising, and even retail media networks. It's a totally seamless integration.
So to wrap this all up, let's just come back to this one final quote that summarizes the whole thing perfectly. Why does this work so well? Because MapSite lets brands reach people who are already behaving like their customers. It's about ending the guesswork. It's about starting a relevant conversation with people based on what they actually do in the real world. You're finding your next customer by understanding the footsteps of your current ones. And honestly, what could be more powerful than that?